Welcome again to Encore, a new segment on What I Did Next, where I check in with some of your favorite alumni guests. I'm delighted to be joined again by designer Nada Debs. Nada is someone who has reinvented the Levantine tradition of woodwork making and design. I first spoke to her in 2021 about her journey growing up in Japan, living in the US and the UK, and finally moving back to Lebanon. Today, she's moved to Dubai, where she continues to push the envelope using traditional craft techniques while always adding a modern twist with pared back Japanese inspired minimalism.
So one of my big challenges was when the explosion happened in Lebanon, in Beirut, and that was in 2020, I think, August. And that was a wake-up call to remind me kind of that we've been in Lebanon for 20 years, and each time it's this journey of fighting, constantly fighting um, the political and economic situation. And this was like a huge, huge, and I always survived them. I'm very perseverant and I can stand up. And this was one of those where the more problems that happen, the more we need to kind of solidify our identity. And I feel as a brand that represents craft, and local craft, it is my duty to be strong. So, um, but I felt also that it's very important that the rest of the world sees what we do. And I was so afraid that staying in Beirut might not be the only way. So I needed a plan B. And so I thought about every country actually, except Dubai. I thought, should I go back to the UK? Should I go to France? Maybe give France a try. Should I go to Greece? It's like the new trend now to go to
Yep.
Athens.
And close by for Beirut as well.
And close by.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, why am I forgetting about Dubai? Because I still had that old perception of Dubai. And I met a few people. I met Fadi Handour. I guess you might know him.
He was on the show.
Ex-Aramex. He loves
Yes.
Dubai. And he's like, Nada, of course you should think about Dubai. And then I thought about all my clients. I've done the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I've had very loyal clients from this part of the world.
Yeah.
And I hadn't stepped into Dubai since 2007.
Wow. That's a big, big gap.
Yes, I had done a show at XVA Gallery, which opened the eyes of many, many people. And then Harvey Nichols and Bloomingdale's did a whole section for Nada Debs. It was the first time they bring in a local brand as a real brand selling furniture and home accessories. And so since that time, that was maybe 2010. And since then, I had not stepped into this part of the world. And so I thought, okay, why don't I, take a look at Dubai? And I don't know what it was. Maybe then I was invited to do the Golden Visa, and the doors opened like this. It's like Noah's, like the door, the sea, the sea opened.
The Red Sea parted for you.
The Red Sea parted for me. It just all opened up. Everything went so smoothly, and I felt that that was a sign. So I spent a year coming and going, and seeing, meeting people. And I felt that there was a lot of interest in what we do. We had a few projects. And then it made me think, okay, maybe it's time to find a place to kind of come to live. And I found this very beautiful villa from the 1980s. And, because I work with heritage, in a way, I needed something that had a history.
That had a history and a soul. Yeah.
And a soul. And so this 1980s villa, they were called bungalows. They have a lot of soul, they represent old Dubai. And so I rented this space, and I decided, instead of renting a shop also, or, a shop in a mall or anything, let me furnish this home with all Nada Debs products and invite people by appointment, and they will come and see what we do. And it turned out to be a really successful idea, because also there's a sense of exclusivity. but at the same time, it's not a commercial space. It's just my home. So it showed my work in a real environment, my pieces being used.
Yeah. Nada, it's very interesting that coming from Beirut, where things were literally falling apart, that you picked Dubai. I've got a lot of friends who did the similar move from Beirut to Dubai, and they commented on something similar. They wanted something turnkey, something that functions, something that they could just slip into and not have too much headache. And I think coming from a country where there were so many problems, maybe even subconsciously, that's a very attractive proposition, right?
Yeah. But, also, but it wasn't very easy because the
Yeah.
energy in Dubai is very charged. Okay. It's like
Yes,
moving
it is.
forward.
It's relentless. Yes.
And
Yeah.
I come from a place where my belief is slow is the new fast. Like I want to slow things down. And
Yeah.
so in a way, I took it in a positive way. And I'm like, maybe this is a chance for me to show what slowing down means,
Yeah.
in the way that you have to wait for the furniture order. You have to, because you
Yes.
have to appreciate that things are made by hand and crafted. And I found that people don't know much about it here. And so I feel like I have a place where I can explain and express
And educate.
and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
educate and show actually the end result. And the end result, I mean, so somehow my home has given this feeling of spirituality. I don't know if it's the incense that I put or it's just the garden that I had my friend commission my friend Zain Masood to do, but it just has this kind of um it's like a little oasis in this busy
Yes.
Dubai.
And it's needed there, I find. It's very needed there.
And that was kind of part of my brief when I was having the garden made, is that we need a place of a recluse where we can actually, you know, sit and contemplate
Mm. Hmm.
um, quietly, a bit like Japanese gardens. And craft is a spiritual act. When someone is
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
repetitive work, it's actually very spiritual and meditative. And so it works in line with what we do, the end result.
Hmm.
And
And your pieces are still crafted in Lebanon.
yes, so this is something that we are still insisted on. But again, we're still open now to craft communities worldwide. And this is what Dubai made me look at. So I was always saying local crafts, so Syrian, Lebanese, maybe Egyptian. But today I've been traveling to Pakistan, Uzbekistan, uh, uh, you know, Indonesia. And so today, if I were to re-edit my mission, it's not just about low Eastern craft. It is maybe Eastern craftsmanship, but it is really about supporting craft communities globally because I work in duality. It's always about finding this balance between uh, two cultures or two worlds. And, this is just an expansion of my,
Mm.
the concept of duality.
And how has your design thought process changed with these changes and with your exposure to different parts of the East? So your East prism has expanded, right?
Yes, that's
It
right.
was Middle Eastern, but now it's gotten a little wider. Has that
Yeah.
impacted how you design?
Maybe not how I design, but the materials I use are, are different. Like in Pakistan, I did this collaboration with Studio Lel, and we worked with marble and marble inlay. Uh, so what surprised me about this collaboration is that the people who were interested in selling it was actually BSL gallery in Paris. So
Hmm.
Beatrice from this gallery, she was very interested in the exotic side of
Yeah.
our part of the world.
Yes.
And this,
Yes.
and so, that also was the interesting side that now Europe is very interested in what
Yes.
we're doing.
There's an awakening to what we
A
are
big one,
doing. Yeah.
a very big awakening.
And I think a lot of it has been supercharged with the war in Gaza, actually. There's a huge spotlight on
Even
us
more.
yeah. And finally, I think there's a positivity in a weird sort of way about, or at least a balance, looking at us in a more balanced way.
Yeah. Indirectly, we're being seen. We're actually being noticed, number one.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and then when you dig a little bit deeper, you realize that, you know, like, you know, we have so much to offer in this part of the
Yeah.
world. And
Yeah.
also that, we have different cultures within our region. So you have the Palestinian, the Lebanese, the Syrian, the Egyptian. And so
Absolutely.
now people are differentiating. We're not just Arabs, we're,
Yep. Yep.
like we're being differentiated. And, so it's a great time, for us, and we have to tap onto this opportunity to actually push our culture. And everyone's doing that, whether it's music, food,
Absolutely.
product, architecture. No, it's a very exciting time for us.
When you look at your business, is the majority of your business from private individuals? Or do you work more with companies? I know you do a lot of collaborations. It's been a
Yeah.
trademark of yours. I think you're actually one of the pioneers in our region to have sort of understood the potential of that. But
Mm.
in terms of your business, is it still individual clients that are the biggest contributor to the business?
We have a lot of institutions that come to us. I think these are more than, so we had, of course, when I first started, we had, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Qatar Foundation, Queen Rania,
The
Saudi
Arab League as
Arabia,
well, I
the
remember.
Arab League Hall, of course, yes. And so, these institutions, they want to represent a modern Arab identity. And it's still going on. Now we're finishing some VIP rooms for the Performing Arts Center in Jeddah, where the Red Sea Film Festival will be
Yes.
taking place. So, so yes, we still have a lot of institutional projects.
Yeah.
We have a lot of corporate gifts. Corporate gifts is picking up in a bit way. That's
Really?
so
How interesting.
interesting.
And give me an example, Nada. So that is seasonal? Does that happen, for example, Ramadan, Christmas time, or is that just an ongoing kind of business?
Yeah. So a lot of the government level people, they always need to have gifts, on constantly having gifts to give to heads of state around the world. And to their VVIP clients. So there's an ongoing search. They keep coming to us to create new boxes, new trays,
Interesting.
with their logos in it. And also weddings, and wedding boxes
Yeah.
in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia. These wedding boxes, it's a big deal when you're
It's a
putting the
big business.
jewelry. Yeah, and they put sometimes cash money in the drawers,
Yes.
oud. So we make these, fun boxes that have like these
Yeah.
little knickknacks, little drawers.
And the boxes themselves become an item of that are treasured in their own right.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
so that's fun. And then of course we do have our clients who come to do custom. So we do have a line of furniture and home accessories, but so many people come to us for the fact that we customize.
Yes. Yes.
And this is the part that I enjoy because I'm kind of like chameleon. Like I love to please people. So when someone comes to me and I see that they might be like frustrated designers, I give them the opportunity to participate in the creative process.
How nice.
So yeah, so they're like, we just love the color purple. We want to be able to apply it. So, I accommodate. I'm a bit of an accommodator.
But I think that's very in my mind, that's always the hallmark of a successful designer because you're not dogmatic. You're not saying to someone, this is my style, this is how I work. You either like it or you don't. And there's so much of that around. But this collaborative feeling is much more enriching and
Yeah.
more pleasurable for the person who's going to own the item in the end as well.
Yeah, because at the end, it's all about connection.
Yeah.
And when they receive the piece at home, they connect to it because they created it. They
Yeah.
part of it. It's like giving birth to something.
Yeah.
And for me, I really can't see myself. I really have a hard time saying I'm a furniture designer or product designer, because I just feel that what I've done is actually appreciated craft. And I just find ways of applying this craft on a table,
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
functional object. So it's really more about the message of craft rather than the table design itself. So it's really hard for me to say I'm a furniture designer or
Yeah.
product designer. I'm more of, and I even want to even change the word craft to maybe applied art, because it's really the application that's interesting for
That's
me,
right.
and
That's right.
coming up with new techniques, new craft techniques that can maybe be a new vernacular for a region.
I want to change tack a little bit, Nada, and I want to sort of look at a couple of things that I don't think we touched on in our last episode. Who in your mind was the most influential person in your life, whether it was personal or professional?
Wow, that's really hard, because I can say from a personal point of view, my mother, because of her relentless perseverance and pushing me that it's never enough. Uh, like, she comes from a very like tough background, plus living in Japan where you're always striving for perfection. And so we had that too, kind of that thing.
Yeah.
So I'm always like hard on myself. I'm always like, it's never enough. Um, and so that really is my driving force. Um, so that's from a personal point of view. But it's really hard to answer that question because I've been asked that question.
Think maybe design wise, I'm sure that you have phases, right? I mean, anyone, your design ethos evolves over time. The person you might have found influential when you were at RISD is different to someone today, for example, probably,
So I was at a time when product design was starting to become a household name, and that was because of Philip Stark. And
Yeah.
so Philip Stark influenced me in terms of like someone looking at small objects. And then uh, after that, I think what I was interested, I found Patricia Urquiola very interesting because she lived in Spain. I think she's Spanish, lived in Italy, but she actually used a lot of influences from the Spanish architecture, I felt.
Yes.
And she added a feminine touch to design. So when she started to work with Casina or these big brands, she would add curves. So everything was quite rectilinear before that. And I noticed curves, I noticed color, and I noticed her interpretation of pattern in a lot of her work. So she would like learn how to, like when she worked with Moroso, she would learn like these different um, uh, fabric techniques, and she would apply them on large scale. Like let's say the baby clothes, you have this beautiful embroidery on
Yes.
and the way they gather the fabric. For example, she applied that on a sofa in Moroso with one of the Moroso sofa.
Yeah.
So I was like, how interesting she is. She took something that's, a female, sewing techniques
Yeah.
and applied it in large scale on sofas. And so for me, Patricia, I have met her several times and I've said this to her, but I don't think she knows how much she really impacted me in that way.
Interesting. If you had to redo your life and you were to choose another profession, what would you choose?
Actually, I would choose graphic design and marketing. I really, really like maybe let's say branding, marketing, because I think that
Yeah.
I'm a good marketer. I
Yeah,
realize
you
that
are. You are.
I think that I hate to admit it because um it sounds, I don't know, but I think that um I'm often like, I mentor young people and I'm always trying to find a way they can have a catchphrase or something for what they do, like something that makes them unique, their unique selling point. So I'm always observing that. And for me, even for myself, I needed to understand what I do.
But it's very clear to me when I look at your work I can tell it's you without even knowing that your name is attached to it. You have a very strong a look and feel, and that's very much a brand, right?
Yeah.
So you've got that way of thinking very much.
Because I feel like, okay, let's say someone is coming for a collaboration. I know they're coming because of these things. And
Yes.
so I work with that. Of course, I add my extra touch, but yeah. So I think that everybody has something unique about them, and I like to see that. So that's why maybe it's an intuitive thing, maybe because I'm very much of an empath as a person. So I can absorb how people feel, how people think before they even know it. And so, um, you know, so yeah, so I feel like if anything, I had a second, let's say, chance, I would do that.
What is a typical day for you? Let's say that you're not traveling or you're not attending, events in different countries. What would be a typical day for you?
So I wake up early. I exercise in one way or another.
Are you still swimming?
I still swim. Swimming is my therapy. Swimming is my therapy. And when you think of it, when you're doing repetitive, so again, I'm always about repetitiveness. And when you repeat repetitive breathing, it's actually meditative. So, and a lot of my ideas come in the water. It's my only time where I can really be with myself. So I either swim or do yoga, but I do some kind of exercise. But I'm straight in front of my computer. I go through my to-do list. And now my son has joined my business.
When we chatted last time, Neda, your son was thinking of joining. So now he's part of the business.
Yeah, he's part of the business, and now he's really becoming more like the general manager of the company.
Yeah.
So what he's trying to do is trying to leave me the space to create it, so that he can do kind of like more the dirty work and the contract, things that I'm not good at.
Sure. And it frees you up. It frees you up and it frees your mind up.
Yeah. And he also wants to take it a little bit more commercial in the way that he wants to really take the designer to become a brand, to become like a company, like
the modern way.
The modern way. Yes.
Yeah.
And, letting the brand grow. And of course, in order to do that, it has to become a proper business. In extension of my stay in Dubai and my son joining the business, we decided to have a space in Dubai where like a shop space.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, along with a studio space. So we're really excited about, spreading the message, not just through like these private visits into my home, but really being out there and having having the chance to share, because it's all about our craft stories. It's not just about selling a product. So we have the chance to share our message publicly.
Yeah, yeah. And where is that, Nada? Where is the studio and where is the shop?
It's going to be in El Circal, which is a really beautiful community.
It is a great community. It's a good fit for you.
Yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of retail and F&B now coming in. So it's going to be really a mixed use area. And I feel like it's really becoming kind of like a center for creativity.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really excited about that.
And what's happened with your shop in Beirut? Is it still there?
It's still there, but it's very sad these days because now the economic situation is so bad.
Yes, of course.
And of course now the fear of everybody. So we used to have people coming in like 2, 3, 4 times a day. Today, maybe once a week, Wow. But nevertheless, we do have a lot of Lebanese people who are still ordering, still buying. Good. Yeah. So, we're very lucky. Our workshops are still working really hard.
Thank God for that. Yeah.
We told the team, you don't have to come. You can work remotely. The situation's not good.
Yeah.
They came throughout every single day. Like,
that's amazing. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it because we need to hear these hopeful stories,
That is amazing. But this time it was a really sad, I wasn't able to stand up like I usually do,
I know.
Now I'm getting now I'm getting my energy back.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very important, yeah, that we create demand so that we can keep those guys working.
For sure. But I'm in awe at Lebanon and the Lebanese, because the amount of setbacks over the last 40 years, it's
Too
almost
much.
too much to even comprehend. How do people cope with this? It's too much.
I don't know. It's too
Yeah.
much. But then what do
Yeah.
we do? Like,
There's no other choice. What do we do? Yeah,
there's
exactly.
no other choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no other choice. I mean, we have to keep going. And I got my energy back really because of my team. They're like, we're
Yeah.
working hard. We're like, you know, relentlessly working. And I'm like, then I need to be really ahead of the game.
You need to match them. Yeah. Yeah.
I need to
Absolutely.
match them. I need to,
Yeah.
support them. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, this is where we are today.
You were in Egypt recently, Nada, and I think you hadn't been here in a while, and it opened your eyes a little bit to the country.
So this last trip to Egypt was really a big eye opener. I saw this creative community. I had visited this creative hub. I don't know what it was. It was a creative conference, and I saw the youth, and everyone was doing music, food, um, and there was this energy that was amazing. And also with the collaboration we did with Kahal and the carpets. And um, so when I was there, I decided I needed also a plan B, and I wanted to visit some workshops. So I
Yeah,
visited an amazing workshop with a young man named Omar, and he's like fifth or sixth generation of um, inlay furniture. I don't know if you know his workshop, but so I felt like, this is a place where, there might be a chance to do more collaboration.
sure.
And also I
Interesting.
went to visit the glass blowing workshop as well.
Yeah,
And what's really amazing about Egypt is the scale of Egypt and
yeah.
like in Beirut, there is glass making, but we only have limited sizes of glassware we can do. But when I went to Egypt, it was like, anything is possible.
And the Egyptian will never say he can't do it. The Egyptian will never tell you, I can't do it. He will always say yes.
And that's exactly what I like. Like that's great for creatives.
Yeah,
So, I mean, so I'm really looking forward to working with Egyptian artisans. I know that quality control is a difficult one
it's
and
an issue, but yeah,
yeah, timing is also difficult. But I think that was the case when I first started in Lebanon and I was able to work on
absolutely.
that. So, for sure that, and I'm seeing the Egyptian designers coming up with the most beautiful pieces. And so I love the energy.
Absolutely. I mean, there's definitely a spotlight now on these areas, but of course, globalization, the modernity of life means that people are not interested in these sorts of crafts anymore, and that's a problem.
So this is where I come in, and this is why I'm always aware of the young millennials, the Gen Zs. What are they looking for?
Yes.
But they are interested. So for me, the craft stories are very important. The narratives that, and the importance of of the spiritual side of it. And I think that the new generation gets it. They really do.
I think they get it. I think part of the problem, Neda, is that there's a lack of exposure to it. I think
Yeah.
that has a lot to do with it. So they don't know what's there. And I also think that if there's a way of bringing these crafts into a more modern concept, bringing them forward, not always looking back, using the techniques, but maybe in a more modern, lighter twist,
Yeah.
then that's a way also of engaging the new generation as well.
Also, they're very conscious today, so
Yes,
of sustainable materials,
exactly.
so and waste. So today, like I'm looking at AI, how I can incorporate AI with
Yeah,
craft.
yeah.
I'm also interested in working with sustainable materials. So these are challenges that we're facing and we want to face because that's where the world is heading. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is exactly something. And so definitely I'm very aware of the new generation, and I want them to hear our stories and let them help us and help them. Let them help us to help them. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, it's a two-way street, right? So looking at it from their eyes as well, they have technology at their fingertips. And so how can you harness that as a designer? What can you incorporate from what they have to bring that forward? It's interesting.
Exactly.
I think.
So that's another way of collaborations, like looking at it from their point of view.
And it's also sustaining industry, right? It's not just one-offs. It's taking the industry itself into the new world in a way.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's very exciting. What we're facing is really, really exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. So I want to move on, Nada, to our quick fire round. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so collaborations or individual expression?
Collaboration.
Lebanon or Japan?
Japan.
Intricate and ornate or stripped back minimalism?
Intricate and ornate.
Reckless or cautious?
Cautious.
What is your favorite activity?
Daydreaming.
What is your least favorite activity?
Speaking in public.
Really? You're very good at it, though.
It's like my least favorite.
You have to psych yourself up for it, probably.
I have to psych myself up. I have a lot of anxiety. Maybe it doesn't show, but I can talk to, I need to connect. Like connection is like one of the most important things for me.
Yeah,
and if I don't connect, I can't. So when it's a big audience, I can't individually connect. And I have a big problem with that.
Yeah.
So I'm very good with small groups.
Yeah. And these sort of conversations is one-on-one.
Yeah. I love these conversations. Yeah.
I have a hard time.
That not being in connection with people.
Okay. I can't get through the weekend without.
Yeah, swimming, I think.
How often do you swim, by the way?
No, I swim like 4 times a week.
Yeah.
3-4 times a week.
The last one is I get joy from
connecting people.
Putting people together.
Yeah, I love it. I love introducing people.
I love that as well. Yeah. I get such a kick out of it.
I get a kick, and I like it when, something comes out of this connection, because then it confirms it might be selfish, but it confirms my intuition that I know that they'll get along, so it's just that I am always testing myself if I really get it right somehow.
I'm like that as well, actually. I really enjoy it whether it's matchmaking romantically or just getting friends together. The two, I do the two.
That's nice. I think it's a beautiful thing.
That was my Encore conversation with Nada Debs. We'll continue this segment each month with your favorite alumni, so stay tuned for my check-in with entrepreneur Ahmed Elfi, designer Nadine Kanso, and media powerhouse Amy Moafi. There's much more to come after them as well. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Malak Fuad, and the show is produced by Chirag Desai. You can watch all of our episodes on YouTube and connect with us on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on X. I'll be back again next week with my next guest, Noof El Munif. I hope you can join me then.